I'm trying to think if you know, Fat Man on Batman or Fat Man Beyond. Like, are there any puns we can make?
I'm not very punnable. I'm generic white guy number 6.
I like that.
Fuck it, we're calling it generic white guy number 6. That's the name of this podcast. Roll the intro. What's good, everybody, and welcome to my first episode of my comic talking podcast. I haven't figured out the name yet, but that'll come later. So, a lot of you on YouTube and stuff like that are probably wondering who the hell is this talking about comics and stuff like that. Why is he here? But my name is Sean. I run a Twitch channel already where I stream video games and stuff like that. But comics are like my first real love. They're my first passion. Sorry, Kristen. So I decided I wanted to start a little podcast / video series where I talk about comics and shit like that came out this week. And I just hang out, talk about what I'm excited about, what I read that I'm super hyped about. I'm not going to, on this, I don't want to talk too much about the stuff I'm not excited about. I'm going to take the Kevin Smith road right here. I'm going to talk mostly about, these are the things I'm very excited about. I'm not going to talk about the things that I'm not excited about or that I don't think look good and stuff like that. There's no point in putting that negativity out there. So, I figured out for this episode, I'm gonna introduce myself a little bit. I'm gonna talk about the comics I read this week. I'm gonna talk about some cool news facts that I found that I'm very excited about. And then I'm gonna talk about what I'm super hyped for next week and what's coming up, so that you guys can kind of follow along, read what I'm reading if you want. I'll put my pull list in the description below, so you guys can check that out as well and keep right up to date. But yeah, without further ado, I should actually introduce myself.
Your multiple selves.
Oh yeah, all of myselves. I don't know if you can hear Kristen in the background while we're talking, but
We can cut me out.
yeah, we can, or we can leave it in. Either way. So my name is Sean Thompson. I am 23 years old, living right here in the GTA. And yeah, I'm gonna go through my background in comics a little bit really quick for you guys. I don't want to talk ad nauseum about it, but I think it's important to like state my credentials, you know? So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit, state my credentials and stuff like that. The first comic I ever really owned that was mine actually used to be my dad's. It was a copy of Spider-Man Torment, or Amazing Spider-Man #1 by Todd McFarlane. It was the Torment storyline, hence my little flub there that I will probably catch shit for in the comments. But yeah, I know it's not like a super rare or anything like that comic, but it was the first comic I got, and it was really cool, and it was really cool that it came from my dad and that it was something he had when he was a kid. So that's what got me into comics when I was, I must have been like 7 maybe. I was really young. But then didn't think much of it. Thought myself a jock, tried to do the sports thing, was very clumsy. And then probably in grade 9 of high school really started, like, the Marvel movies started coming out and stuff like that. And I started getting more back into comics and stuff like that. I went back to when, like, I was rereading my dad's fucking copy of Spider-Man and stuff. So I just stuck with that. The next comic I bought was a Nightwing annual, because Nightwing's the shit. He's so dope. That ass. That one got Kristen. But yeah, so ever since then I've been pretty hooked. The first comic book store I ever went in was Comic Book Addiction in Whitby, Ontario. Hometown, you know? So yeah, that was kind of my start in comics, and then I kind of kept reading comics. I had my pull list at Comic Book Addiction for years, and then I moved over to Guelph for university, and I started, the first thing I did when I decided I was going to uni out here was I looked for a comic book store. I needed to know where my comics would come from. They weren't coming from Whitby the whole time. I had to move them here so I could buy them, so I could get them day one. So I found the Dragon, probably my favorite comic book store of all time. Seriously, if you have not been to the Dragon in Guelph, Ontario, you're fucking up. It's so good. Jen, the owner, is amazing, and all the staff, Amy, who's been there forever, the two of them really, like, they've been awesome throughout, like, everything, always suggesting things and stuff like that. And then eventually, from going there so much and spending so much time there, they were like, you know, we should throw this kid a couple bucks. He sits here and talks to all the people about comics for like 20 minutes at least when he comes in. He just randomly walks up to strangers and like, oh yes, that's a very good one. Yes, you should read that. So I got a job at the Dragon, and I worked there for probably about 2 years, I would say. A little on and off. I had some school stuff pop in and out, so I'd go part-time I was part-time the whole time, but I'd get reduced hours and stuff to try and work on school and whatnot, but I always was in there constantly. The Dragon became like a second home to me in Guelph, which was weird because I lived in like 5 different apartments in university. But yeah, the Dragon was really, it was so welcoming and everything like that, so I loved going in there and hanging out, and I feel like I found my people there. So yeah, that was how I kind of got into comics, where I'm at now. Now I work at the university. Okay.
Oh no, sorry, you're spinning a lot. I was just saying,
I'm sorry,
stop saying.
Kristen's out here throwing directions and stuff like that.
The focus, I'm producing. Thank you very
yes,
much.
producer Kristen.
Because
yes.
the focus may
I'm gonna
fuzz
cut
up,
together a blooper reel.
and then I can't see it, so then, you know.
I see. Well, shit.
And shit.
So yeah, that was my credentials in comics. Now I'm working at the University of Guelph, but I'm still in at the Dragon at least once a week, and try to spend as much time in there as I can whenever I go. But yeah, now the Dragon has like 3 locations now. They really boom. So if you're in North Guelph, South Guelph, or Milton, or any of the areas around them, seriously, check them out. It's the most. I'm sorry, I sound like I'm an ad right now. I feel like I'm like, oh yes, they're paying me and take all your money. But this is 100% not sponsored. It's legit. Like, I just love this store so much, and everybody who works there. They're all awesome. But yeah, I guess I'll tell you a little bit about myself. Give you a little glimpse into the stuff I read, what I'm kind of into, what I gravitate towards. So favorite characters, I guess, would be the next step on this journey we're taking together. So my all-time favorite superhero is Nightwing. By far, he's the top. That ass again. But no, for real. Like, I always related to Nightwing / Robin. He was always the more interesting part of the Batman kind of dynamic to me, even when it was Tim Drake or Jason Todd or anything like that. When they were taking over the mantle of Robin, they were still really interesting to me. But Dick Grayson kind of like, he was the first Robin and kind of my first introduction to the character, so that's the one I gravitate towards most, and he's the one I tend to relate to the most. Other than that, I'll venture outside of Batman, because if I was just to sit here, my top like 5 would probably be Batman characters. So outside of Batman, I will go right over to Hellboy. Love the Hellboy comics. Again, I'm a big horror movie fan, so stuff like that really related to me, really got me good. Any of the spookier kind of things. So yeah, and then obviously Spider-Man. Spider-Man was a big hit, and I guess I'll give you one more. I gotta think about one more though.
One eternity later.
Swamp Thing. Fucking Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing's so dope.
You dare threaten the green.
He kind of blended that the like horror meets superhero aspects to me, and like I'm a big old nerd, so I took biology in university. So anyone who looks out for the plants and the aminals is right for me. So yeah, I guess those are my 4 kind of big top characters. I don't know why that took me so long to figure out. So yeah, I guess that's kind of my intro. The next video I put up will be a proper, here's what came out this week, and here's what I want to talk about, and stuff like that. It'll actually come up right after this. I'm going to record it right immediately after this. I just want to put this one up as soon as possible, so this way you guys get a little intro, and then you'll get episode 1. So we'll call this episode 0. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want to see more from me, Sean Thompson, talking about comics and stuff like that. And don't forget to leave a comment down below. Thanks so much.